Somewhere between 6:18 and 6:30. And the reason I know that is because my phone records show that I called my daughter's godmother. So I called her to say they're not here yet. And that was like at 6:18. I was frantic. It was a mess.
This is the plaintiff, Roberta Frances Harper. She says she threw a Hollywood-themed Sweet 16 party for her daughter, and she hired the defendant to supply the props and decorations. He came to set up the party late, and her guests were forced to wait in the lobby while he got his act together. Her party started late. All the props weren't delivered, and some of them didn't even work. She wants a refund. She deserves a refund, and she's suing the shady guy for the $2,000 she paid him. This is the defendant, Joseph Zabatino. He says his guys left at noon to arrive at the party on time. But there was a marathon that day, and they were stuck in traffic for 5 hours, so they arrived a little late. Despite all the delays, his guys managed to get everything up and running, and the party started only 10 minutes late. The plaintiff called him 3 days later, exaggerated the problems, and is just trying to fleece him for a delay that only cost her 10 minutes. He offered her $1,000 credit for her next party, but the plaintiff refused, and now it's up to the judge to decide what's right. He's accused of souring Sweet 16.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas. Roberta Frances Harper. You are suing Big Apple Props, represented here by Joseph Zabatino. You're the owner?
Yes.
For $2,000, a partial refund of $3,119 that you paid him for your daughter's Sweet 16. Tell me what went wrong.
I hired his company to do the props and decorations for my daughter's Sweet 16. It was on May 6th. I first contacted him in October and visited his warehouse in October. And subsequently, we made a contract.
Can I see the contract?
Sure.
What was included in the $3,119, Mr. Zabatino?
She had several props. One was a candy cart with a Hollywood theme. The other one was a backdrop with her daughter's picture on there.
Okay.
Some stanchion poles with red ropes.
Stanchion poles are the...
Like the Hollywood
right, like
ropes.
In the movie theater.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And then there was a
red carpet, mirror ball centerpieces, 8 of them.
And a Sweet 16 candle lighting.
What does that mean?
It's basically a candle lighting that we do where all the candles, 16 candles, 17 candles are actually put on top, and normally on the Sweet 16, the girl makes her speeches. They dedicate each candle, and then they blow it out at the end.
Do you have a picture of the candle light? Like, what does that mean?
I do.
It's a candelabra? What is it?
I did submit.
I have 2 videos in evidence. Do you have pictures also?
I do.
Okay. Okay. All right, so are these electric?
They're LED lights. It lights up.
Is this her Sweet 16?
Correct.
Okay. So these are the centerpieces. Are these globes supposed to rotate?
Yes.
They do. They have there's a button on the bottom of each one that you press on, and then they spin.
All right. So tell me what goes wrong.
Well, first of all, based on the contract, he was supposed to show up. The party was supposed to start at 7. So he was supposed to show up at his company at 3 to do the setup.
Oh, wait, and you gave me the contract. Let's see where it says he shows up at 3. Setup time, 3 p.m.
Yes.
Start, 6 p.m.
Well, that was amended.
Okay.
So the start time was amended to 7. I do have a contract
So
that
then,
says that.
do you have another contract?
I do.
May I see the other one?
Sure.
So then setup wasn't at 3 anymore, was it? Now
No,
it's at 4?
it stayed at 3.
Oh, that's an oversight. In any event.
Which I was okay with, actually.
Okay. I'm sure you are, right? And then, so what time did they show up?
Somewhere between 6:18 and 12:30. And the reason I know that is because my phone records show that I called my daughter's godmother. So I called her to say they're not here yet. And that was
my
like at
gosh, you must have been
6:18.
so
I was
stressed
frantic.
out.
I was frantic.
What
It
happened?
was a mess.
Unfortunately, Your Honor, the truck left that day between 12 and 12:30, and because of the marathon, there was heavy traffic. They wound
It
up
didn't take
getting
them
there.
6.5 hours.
did.
My point exactly.
It did.
How long? Where
It
is
did.
the truck located?
In Brooklyn.
And they had to go to where?
They had to go to Jersey, which they went through Manhattan. Then they had to go through Canal Street to get
Maybe
onto
they
the
should have
Holland
known
Tunnel.
about the marathon.
They
And
did.
what marathon are we talking about?
I don't recall that day.
It's not the New York City Marathon.
No,
I don't recall.
no.
Well, it's not. So
Okay.
I'm recalling for you. The only marathon that took place on that day is in Morristown. Is that on your path to get to her? Because I
I
don't
don't
see
recall.
it.
There was a ton of traffic that day. That I could tell you.
Okay,
And
but
my
what
trucks-
time did your guys show up for a 7 o'clock party? For
About
like the biggest day in that little girl's
10
life?
after 6. They showed up.
They may have arrived at the parking lot at 10 after
But then they
6.
had a smoke or something? Because
don't
they didn't,
know.
at 6:18, you were calling.
I have text messages with actually, I think his son, who, and it was, I think, I forget, I have it on the phone. It's like
Yeah, let's get those up.
5:45, and he said they'll be here in 20 minutes.
Right.
And they actually did not show up. The phone records.
Okay, no, but that's not going to tell me anything. In any event, so did it delay the party?
It did.
Okay.
I had people waiting, the guests, I had 60 teenagers and 30 adults
Waiting?
in the hallway. I mean,
For how
it
long?
was probably, my daughter eventually didn't walk in until probably 5
That wasn't my
minutes to
question. What
8.
time were your guests able to go in?
Somewhere around 7:30, 7:35.
35 minutes? Your party had to start 35 minutes late?
Yes.
Your Honor, the video was taken at 5 after 7. That's the time when it was done. There was no people in there. There wasn't anybody
Are you
in the room.
referring to the video of the room while they were making it up? Or after they were making it up?
After the room was done, after everything was put in place, my driver always takes a video and,
you
takes pictures.
also have video. Let's see your video. Wait, no, your video is on your phone. What was it you said to me that the video was made when?
Approximately, I think it was right after
What time did you say the video
about
was?
7:05.
Would you like to see your video? Because I haven't even started playing it yet.
Okay.
7:23.
From when it was sent?
Yeah. I haven't even
recall.
started looking at it. It says May 6th, 7:23.
Okay.
Tell me if I'm reading that incorrectly.
No.
I'm
I
not
guess so.
reading it incorrectly.
No, you're right.
Hey, that's
okay.
horrific. You know, I mean, that's like, that's, you know. All right. So there's let's see the video they took. All right, so what else went wrong?
It was just the bowls. I mean.
Oh, the bowls. Tell me
yeah.
about the bowls and the candy.
Well, he was supposed to provide bowls for the candy cart. Now, I
Okay.
can't even complain about the candy cart. It was absolutely gorgeous. It
Wait,
was,
where's the candy part? I want to see it.
there should be a picture of the
Is this
candy
it?
cart in there. No, well, those are the bowls that I got from the hotel.
Because they didn't bring bowls?
They did not.
Are you guys supposed to bring bowls? Are your guys?
They were supposed to bring the bowls.
Ah, for the
Unfortunately, that day when they were rushing to put everything on the truck, they forgot the bowls.
Why were they rushing? I thought you said that they were in traffic for 6 hours.
They were.
Oh, I can't even
That's
imagine
it.
the stress.
That's the candy cart.
She's so cute. Was it a good party? I hope it was a good party.
was a great
I hope-
party.
all right.
It was a
Have we
great
been
party.
through everything that went wrong?
Yes.
All right, so let's talk about what is fair in terms of a rebate for the colossal blundering of getting there that late and cheating her of half an hour, 35 minutes of her party.
Your Honor, I just want to point out, although the video may say 7:23, they had stepped out because they had called me and I had told them to go back in. So they may have been done by 5 or 10 after 7.
I'm sorry. You had told them to go back in and what?
To take a video because they took pictures, but we asked them to go back in and take a video.
And so was the party able to go on or no? Because in the video, I
Yeah,
don't
but-
see a party.
No one came. No one was there.
No, no one was there outside at 7:23? No, Your guys had to go back in and take a video because you told them, you goofballs, go take a video, and then they walk in to take the video. Do you hire different people for setup all the time, or is it your guys who are W-2 employees who you...
No, occasionally it's different people.
Right. Was it different people this time?
No. No.
Welcome back to the People's Court, Harvey Levin here. So, is it an excuse that there was a marathon that delayed the guy for 3 hours?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
He should have made provisions, found out what was happening, and he would have known the route and have taken other...
So it's the caterer's job to know what's going on with traffic in the city?
Not necessarily, but reputation would let me want for a business to make sure that those people were happy anyway, and I would have been late, apologised, and allowed that meal to go through for free.
Okay, but he doesn't want to let it go for free. He's saying, look, I didn't know about the marathon.
Well, he should have known about the marathon. I mean, it depends on where you live, but I always get a notice in the mail saying, look, there's going to be a marathon. Here's the route, change the time.
God, I wish I had your email because I never get those notices going inside the courtroom.
They're taking a video of an empty room at 723 because people are outside. In fact, your video shows the people milling about outside
Yes.
trying to get in,
Yes.
right? Where do I go to see your video?
My husband put it on the laptop over here.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Throughout the years, we appreciate all the support.
How am I going to figure out the time based on that video?
Great time, and we'll enjoy it.
Who's the white guy walking back in the back with the red hose in the middle of it? That's one of his workers in the middle of the video? Oy. So clearly, you're in a suit, you're being interviewed by the DJ, and they're still setting up. I got it. That's what I'm supposed to see from that. Okay, got it. All right, what do you think is fair? Mr. Zabatino, what would you think is fair?
I don't know, Your Honor.
Do you have children?
I do.
How many children?
3.
Do you have girls?
1.
Did she have a Sweet 16 or anything like that?
She did.
I can only imagine you're in the business if she didn't do a Sweet 16. Were you on time for that one?
I was.
Were you guys on time? Can you tell me, what's your daughter's name?
Maria.
Maria. I want you, and what's your wife's name?
Bridget.
Bridget and I are like this. All right. So Bridget and Maria are at Maria's Sweet 16. It is now 7:23, and the guests haven't been allowed to walk into a 7 o'clock party. How would Bridget and Maria take that?
I would guess they'd be a little upset. I'll be honest with you, but I understand where she's coming from. But the video doesn't have a time as far as when that video was taken, correct?
It doesn't, but...
So it could have been...
It coulda, but it wasn't. So since I've got your guys videoing at 7:23, I know that you cheated her out of half an hour of her party, and I am going to order a refund, not in the amount that you're asking for. I think that the right amount is in the area of $1,000. Verdict for the plaintiff. Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
So the plaintiff gets half back of what she was seeking. Mr. Zabatino, you got to admit, it probably did affect her party somewhat, don't
I'm
you
sure
think?
it did. It was, they were a little bit late as far as with the traffic and everything, and by the time they got set up, it was a little bit late. I mean,
You can appreciate her frustration,
I do.
can't you?
I understand.
No more 16s for her, All right, so you give her the $1,000 back.
Yes, I will.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, good enough. Here comes Miss Frances Harper. How are you? Tell me about the party. What was it like? You said it was a great party. It looked like it should have been fabulous.
It was. It was.
Everybody had a
Great
wonderful
party.
time?
Everyone had a wonderful time. My daughter had a great time, and it was all about her.
That's good?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah.
When did it really get going?
Probably somewhere around 7:45.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But it was okay.
You glad you came to court?
I did.
Worth it?
Yes.
Okay,
Absolutely.
congratulations.
Thank you so
very
much.
much.
All
All
right.
righty, thank you. Al Harvey, what do you think?
Okay, Doug, so here's the deal. This is kind of a rough justice kind of situation. The plaintiff did get value from the defendant, obviously. I mean, they were able to cater and do all that stuff. But there was a certain amount of inconvenience, upset, and stress and all that other stuff. So the judge deducted $1,000, which is fair. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case underway into the courtroom right now.
This is the plaintiff, Christopher. He says he hired the defendant, a painter, to do some work around his house and foolishly gave him money up front before he started the job. The defendant's workers were inexperienced. They damaged his house, and once he shows the judge's pictures, he's sure he will be walking out of here with the $3,000 judgment he's seeking. This is the defendant, Ray. He says he's a professional and has been in business for a long time. Thank you very much. His guys did a stellar job for the plaintiff. But he's one of those guys who thinks he knows everything and is impossible to please. Bottom line, he stands behind his work and refuses to refund any of the plaintiff's money. He's accused of being a poor painter.
All parties, please use your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. The plaintiff hired the defendant to paint his house, gave him the majority of money up front, and the job was a disaster. But the defendant says the work was A-OK. It's the case of Color Me Pissed Off.
Thank you, Douglas. Christopher, you're suing Ray.
Yes,
Ray's company, painting company, for $3,000 that you want returned to you, that you feel you overpaid for the job they did, spackling, sanding, priming, and painting your house.
Yes, that's
How
correct.
did you two meet?
A buddy of mine called. A buddy of mine, Jeff, called me. He said, "You want to go down, open a pool with me?" He had two pools. It was Ray and a guy next door. So I went down and, opened Ray's pool. And I'm kind of desperate to get my house finished. I have a newborn on the way at that time. And, Ray said he owned his company. He was a painter and a spackler. And I'm like, okay. And so I kept in contact with him at that point and, finally got him, got his company to the house.
Now, you had hired somebody else first, correct?
I did. That was about a year ago.
And how did that go?
Horrible.
Okay.
Horrible.
So do you tell him about that experience?
I did.
And what did he say?
He just said, oh, yeah, he's looking around the house and kind of laughing, like, yeah, it does look bad, and that he was going to make it look like it never happened.
Okay.
That's his exact words.
It was what? What is it that never happened?
What happened? It was just bad spackling.
So was it actually...
Bad spackling was the biggest part of it.
Was it actually fixing the other guy's work, or...
Some of it.
Some of it. Some of it was before the other guy, or you wouldn't have had the other guy.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Okay, so he quotes you. You quote him $3,400 for the prep work, correct?
Correct.
And what was that to include? Is there anything in writing between you guys?
All in text messages.
Yes.
Nothing? Okay, let me see the text messages of the, where you formulate the contract. Can you tell me what it is that was included in that $3,400?
I was fixing the other contractor that was there, the previous person, which was a lot of other unfinished work. Was respackling.
Specifically what?
Respackling everything that was performed. A couple of other damages that were around the house that were not taken care of. So that's basically what we did. That's what the prep was.
But spackling where? How many of the walls? All of them? Everywhere as needed? The whole interior as needed?
No, it was specific areas. The foyer and when you first walk in, the dining room ceiling, the dining room walls, the spare bathroom in the hallway.
When you say spackle is what you put in a hole, right? Were you going to skim coat it?
We had to skim coat the bathroom ceiling.
Okay.
And, go over all the spackle in the house because some of it, half of it was painted over and never sanded.
Without sanding.
Exactly.
Right, so you had to make it look smooth. You had to make it look tight and right.
Correct.
And that's what you're charging him $3,400 for.
The hallway as
well.
How
big is your house?
2,480.
Okay. So he had quoted you another $2,000 to paint the place.
That's correct. Yes.
All right, so now it's a $5,400 contract.
That's
when is it
correct.
that you decide that you're not happy? Because you apparently paid the entire $5,400.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I paid $4,900. I'm sorry.
What happened to the rest of the money?
He gave me $500 back because I had to respackle the entire living room ceiling because there were thousands of air holes in all the spackle because they put it on really thick.
When did he gave you $500 back already?
He gave me $500 back after I had done that part of the work.
And then they kept working?
He didn't give it back. It just we took it off the
Okay,
bill.
you took it off the bill.
And then they kept working.
All
I'd
right,
already
so
given
any
him
balance that you owed, you ended up paying. Did you walk through and look at it before you paid these guys? He's not the one who did it, right?
Ray, no, he's just a.
Did he ever go and check their work?
He walked around at the end, but the guys weren't done. So the guys weren't finished yet with the job.
And when he walked around, did you point out things that were
I
bothering
did point
you?
out some things that bothered me. He already knew about the air holes in the spackle that I was dealing with because he'd already taken $500 off the bill.
All right, let's take a look at what he's coming. Did you walk around after when he complained? Did you go back into the house and take a look?
The whole time that we started the contract, we went to the house, we walked around with the foreman, we walked around.
I mean
all the
afterwards,
areas.
to see the job done.
Afterwards, we walked around the same areas, the same focus of what he was talking about. Like I said, Your Honor, a lot of the work that was performed there wasn't that we started fresh. We went over
So what?
someone
All
else.
you have to do is say, like for example, this. What wall is this?
Now-
Air holes. Wait,
now I'll
wait,
explain-
don't talk.
I'll-
Wait,
go ahead.
I haven't even asked my
Apologize.
question. What wall is this? Says air holes.
That looks like a living room wall.
The wall.
That was the wall because they were doing the wall in the living room as well.
Okay,
not the
so
painting
why
of the
hasn't
wall.
that been skim coated or whatever method you want to use? Why are there holes there?
From the amount of spackle that we had to put on top of what was already there, you don't see everything until you put paint on it and it sucks everything in. That's what you have to go back and do touch-ups for.
I don't
You never-
understand.
And the air holes show right
So,
away.
I don't understand. I
All
don't
right.
understand.
When
Like,
you- when you
I
put a
see
lot of-
that and
when you sand,
I hear
there's a
you.
lot of
I
powder.
don't
All right.
understand why
I'm
you're
gonna
saying that.
explain the process.
But this isn't, when you sand, there's powder. You're
Correct.
supposed to wipe it and not paint it
Correct.
until it's clean.
Correct.
But this is a hole. It's the opposite. It is concave, not
Right.
convex. So why is that hole there? It shouldn't be. None of those holes should be there because it should have been smooth.
Corrected, yes. We didn't see those holes until after we painted because we didn't spackle that area.
You
Those
didn't
are
skim
areas-
coat or
the
spackle that wall?
That wall was not worked on. All we did was paint it. There was
No,
already
you spackled
spackle
it.
there.
I thought you said the wall absorbed it. Now you guys
No,
didn't.
no, I'm not.
This wasn't part of the deal.
There's parts of the house.
Right, so
If-
this
if you wanna
wall
talk, go
wasn't.
ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
look at me and listen to me.
I'm-
This wall was not part of the deal, you're saying.
Well, there's a lot of spots like that in the house that we didn't work on, and the spots that we did work on. It's hard for me to focus and say, yes,
But why
we
though? If
worked
you're
on-
getting paid to do the whole house, why aren't you just
Correct.
doing the whole house?
Okay, so what percentage do you give up front when you're doing it, when you hire somebody to do a job?
I'd give a third. I was building some houses, and my subcontractors, I would give them a third, and then, pay them another third halfway through, and then finish it up at the end.
Fair enough. What do you say?
I say 50%, half and half.
Okay, why do you withhold money before the job is done? What's the reason?
So that it's done really well, and then you can pay the other half later. Otherwise, you
basically-
can't trust them, right?
So you can't trust the guy if you give him all the money up front.
Absolutely not.
Okay, wise woman going inside the courtroom.
Like I said to you, it was a bare wall. It was spackle. When we put the paint on, it sucked in. That's part of what we had to
So
go
am I
back and do.
looking at a wall that was spackled, yes or no?
Yes. Like I
Let's
said,
go to the next picture. All right, what is this?
It looks like a piece of spackle tape that they put on there.
Yeah, but why would anybody put it in that shape?
That's what
what is that,
that's
do you
what I
think?
don't understand.
Do you have any idea what that is?
No, because we didn't do any work on that
Right,
wall.
but you should have, right?
You-
Because that's
but
what you were
you did
getting.
do work on
it.
I need you to stop interrupting.
Sorry.
You should have, because that's what you were getting paid for. Why
Correct.
would the wall end up with all the... Look, I know it can't be perfect, but how about if you work on the walls, since you're getting paid $3,400 to work on the walls?
Understood.
All right, let's look at the next thing. What is this supposed to be showing me? What am I
That's
seeing?
my
here?
finished work of the ceiling.
Okay, good job. All right.
Thank you.
What's that? That's your finished work
That's
on the
my
ceiling.
finished work as well.
Why'd you hire anybody?
Because I just didn't have the time.
You had a baby?
I have a 4-year-old, and then my wife's water broke at 29 weeks, so now I have.
How's the baby?
He's good.
Okay.
He's good. Gaining weight and home.
Wonderful.
So, time, is very limited.
What is this showing me? It says circle dining room
So if
ceiling.
you look closely at the picture, there's like
yeah.
exactly.
From the hand
that's
going
the
like
ceiling.
that.
And this is why I had to redo the entire ceiling. There'll be another one.
Did you redo this?
Not there. No, that's theirs.
That's still there.
Yes. No, you can see the one I redid.
Okay, hold on one second. I want to give him a chance to address this stuff. Why do I see the circle?
Your Honor, I could sit here and nitpick like every single picture, but I didn't walk every single detail with him.
You did or you didn't?
We didn't. At the end of the job, he was happy. We talked in the kitchen. 90% of my business is all commercial, and I explained that to him. This is why I don't do business residentially, because
Then you shouldn't have done it in this case. All right, so what is this, a ceiling, dining room ceiling?
Again, it's a bad spackle
Okay,
part.
what is this?
Dining room ceiling around the back left corner. of just
And-
air holes. This is what I was dealing with.
These aren't air holes. This is just literally debris. This is convex, not concave. It's not a hole. It's bumps. What is that? Why wasn't that sanded down or painted better? Yeah. Okay. I mean, I want to give you a chance to respond, but I mean, okay. So what's this? This shadow.
Picture on the left is not an actual shadow. That's an actual dark spot. It's
Right.
It's a square of where they primed over the area, and then they put on the paint so thin. And that's what bothered me.
But
I was supplying the paint.
I'm kind of confused about why you would pay the final installment. Did you, why would you look around and say, yeah, this looks great, because it doesn't?
Because I didn't have. See, that's the thing. I have a 4-year-old nipping at my heels the entire time.
You gotta entertain. You gotta put Barney on or whatever the heck. I don't know what you people entertain your kids with, but I prayed to the Barney God back then.
I try not to let him watch too much TV.
I know, honey, but but this is a moment where that's not a really good excuse. Okay. All right. And what's going on here? This is the fire detector.
Same thing. Yeah, it's the same spot in the hallway. That wasn't even done. You can see it. You can see the old paint through it.
This is what? This is.
That's to the left of that lower part that you had seen going, near my stairway. It's just rough spackle. It's not even.
Okay. Anybody can throw paint on. It's the really seriously.
Your Honor,
anybody.
the one thing,
no, are you interrupting me?
No.
Anybody can paint. Anybody who's meticulous and careful can paint.
Correct.
The art is the spackling and the evening and the skim coating, which is what the guy paid you for.
I don't think. Besides.
What is that?
That's the wall he was supposed to skim.
Oh, nobody skimmed that. This can't be your best work.
No.
Yeah. So he should get some money back because he's going to have to hire somebody or do it himself.
To myself.
Yeah, do it yourself, So what do you think is fair?
Your Honor, I would have been willing to go back and finish my work. I'm not a bad businessman.
You mean correct it, correct it.
Correct it.
Correct your guy's really bad work, okay? I'll call it. Don't worry about
Thank
it.
you.
He calls you and he tries to negotiate with you $1,500, correct?
The only conversation we had was in his kitchen that day. That's it.
So he never called you and demanded money?
No.
Well, how did you know you were going to get sued? You got sued? You got surprised?
On the phone conversation we never had.
Okay,
Your Honor. The phone conversation never had with him,
He told you he wanted money back. Okay.
I mean.
All right. So how much was the total that he paid? $5,400? See, the problem, too, is that, those walls may be painted, but they have to be painted again. So there's cost involved in that. This is how big a house, 2,000?
2480.
Your Honor.
All right. No, we're done. I just have to, this is kind of a little rough justice at this point, trying to figure out what it's going to cost. And I know he's going to do it because if I were him, I would do it. If I had the talent to do it, I've tried 2 guys doing it. I would just do it myself.
Absolutely.
That's a house you live in, for the love of God. Your wife's busy creating life. The least you could do is spackle. I think the $1,500 is reasonable. I'm ordering $1,500 returned to the plaintiff. That's my verdict.
So the plaintiff gets $1,500 back, not the $3,000 he was originally seeking. Ray, the defendant, has just come out. How do you fight the pictures? I mean, everybody could see it. Looked like a pretty lousy job. You agree?
That's what happens when you can't finish a job. I mean, the guys were still working. Me and Chris talked it over, and it is what it is at this point. So.
Well, sorry about that.
Thank you very much.
Cost you another $1,500 back to him, okay? Here comes the plaintiff, Mr. Christopher, now. I love what the judge said to you. Your wife is creating life. You can do some spackling.
Right, exactly.
You can do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a little, disappointed that I didn't get the $3,000. I mean, I spent $4,900. I'm only getting $15,000, and you could clearly see how bad it was.
No, the pictures. Good thing you had the pictures. Absolutely. They were great evidence for you. All right, congratulations. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, good enough. Harvey?
Okay, I mean, look, my feeling is first of all, you never pay the full amount up front. Even half is a little dicey. I kind of agree what this gentleman said, that you do a third, then you do another third, and then a third when the job is done. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This is the plaintiff, Tyler. He says he contracted with the defendant to use his event space for a birthday party. And 6 days before the event, he told him he booked the space with someone else, leaving him high and dry. He had 250 people coming from all over the place. He was forced to find a much smaller place at the last minute, and it's just not right what they did to him. He's suing for $1,539.42. The amount is out. This is the defendant, Brandon. He says the plaintiff asked to have an event in his new party space and paid nothing. The only thing he guaranteed was he'd bring in at least $2,500 at the bar. Subsequently, someone else offered to pay to rent his entire building for a huge event. And when he tried to reschedule with the plaintiff, he decided to move his party to another establishment. Bottom line, he had no contract with the plaintiff. He's sorry about what happened, but certainly doesn't owe him a dime. He's accused of being a party pooper.
All parties, raise your right hands, please.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff contracted with the defendant to rent out space for a birthday party. 250 people were invited. 6 days before, the guy calls and says, look, I'm going to rent the space to somebody else. But the defendant says the plaintiff never sealed the deal. It's the case of unhappy birthday.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay. Tyler, you are suing Brandon's, it's not even your business, but you have authority to be here, their venue, the venue Brandon works for $1,539.32 that you say you are out as a result of them breaching a contract to offer you the space for a certain day. Yes. What happened?
So I celebrated a milestone birthday earlier this year.
Which milestone?
I turned 25.
Okay.
So I wanted to celebrate with a birthday event. I reached out to the defendant on February 24th regarding having an event at their venue, and we were in talks for a couple of weeks, and we reached an agreement on March 7th. And the agreement was I could have the space with the capacity of 250 people. And
how many people were you planning on having?
Initially 75, just because of cost. But with the opportunity to have more people, I definitely wanted to take that. And the requirement would be for me to reach a bar minimum of $2,500,
okay.
Which I feel like could definitely be achieved with a capacity of 250
people. And then,
people.
so if they only sold 1,000 something, then you would have to pay the difference.
Correct.
So that was your agreement, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And did you have it in writing?
Yes, I had an email exchange.
Can I see the email exchange?
Yes.
So what happens? The event was going to be what day?
It was going to be March 25th. So that was March 7th.
Yeah.
When we reached the agreement. So at that point, I started inviting people. I had guests coming from out of town, so people were booking flights to come to the event. I booked DJs. I was reaching out to a photographer. And so I was really putting everything in motion for the event. And one of the DJs asked about the tech specifications at the venue. So I reached out to the venue to get information on the tech at the space, and they told me that they would be unable to accommodate me.
What'd they say?
On the date that we agreed to. They said that they booked another venue. They booked another event, and that they would be using the entire space. And it wasn't a situation where they reached out to me to tell me this.
Yeah, you just found out by accident.
I reached out to them.
How soon before your party did you find it?
It was 8 days before the event.
8 days before the event. So what happened?
So the events leading up, as the plaintiff described, are pretty accurate. When the plaintiff reached out to us to confirm tech specs, we had just found out that day that our upstairs show that we were having in the venue the same night as his party got canceled. And we're a large venue space, so we needed another event in there to justify turning our lights on, turning our AC on, and to make money that day, a Friday night. So we were looking for other events to find, and we were reached out to by a company that was going to throw a party for 800 to 900 people to rent out our full event. And as a young business, we just couldn't pass up an opportunity like this.
So you breached your contract with him?
Well, we didn't have any contracts signed. It was an email agreement. The most we said was, as far as confirming the date, was cool, that works.
So by saying cool, that works, is that a binding contract?
No.
Why?
You should have reconfirmed that.
But why is cool, that works not enough?
Because that's not the right choice. You need to have signs.
Who disagrees?
The reason why it's an implied contract, when you sit down in a restaurant, you don't sign a paper saying that you're going to pay the bill, do you? It's an implied contract.
Okay, implied contract, going inside the courtroom.
How old are you?
23.
Okay. I'm going to explain to you what a contract is. Offer and acceptance. That's a contract. I decide I want something from you, so I'm going to give up something, and you decide you want the something I'm giving up. So cool works, and that's a contract. What did you get? You got the assurance and guarantee of $2,500 that night, and he got a venue. And then what happens is you went to the highest bidder, which is, you know, you look at me and you say, well, we're a young business, we had to do it. That's great, but I expect you to compensate the man for his damages, and you didn't. You said, we don't owe him any money, and that's not great, because this is a contract.
Sure.
Okay. Now, how much, just to know what's your price, how much was this big, I mean, I imagine it was a huge deal. How much was, I don't want to know the name or who they are.
The bar ring was significant that night. I mean,
Like what?
It was probably close to $10,000 for 800, 900 people, I'd imagine.
Right. Well, then you're flush with money and you can take over his losses. Now, what are your losses? You end up finding another place.
Yes.
And the place is smaller, but it's kind of the size you had wanted earlier, rather than having strangers at your birthday.
Right.
And how'd the party go?
The party went well.
Good. So now you ended up having to shell out how much for that place?
In total, it was $1,539.32.
What about the bar, though? Who got the bar that night?
We didn't even have a bar situation. The space didn't come with the bar, so in addition to that, I had to supply my.
Did you charge for the liquor?
I did not.
Were you there? Who are you? Step on up.
Hi, I'm his friend. I was there at the party that night.
Just his friend?
Yes. But I was there at the party that night, and there was no liquor.
No liquor? Even he said there was liquor.
Yeah, but he asked us to bring your own bottles at that point.
Okay, so there was plenty of liquor.
Yes,
just
plenty
wasn't
of
a bar.
liquor, but it wasn't.
Okay. So he wants you to pay the $1,200 for the rental space plus the security fee. He had to get insurance. Would he have had to get insurance with you?
No.
No, because you have your own insurance. And then he $103 for life. I mean, he's not trying to make money off of you. He just feels like you broke your rental agreement and that you should compensate him. Why isn't he right?
Well, we tried to find other dates. We were.
Oh, yeah, no, wait, let's talk about that. Hold on. So when you talk to him, you tell him, can't do it that weekend, pull the rug out from under you, how about next weekend, right? And you say, sure.
It was the day before.
Well, actually, so the event was supposed to be March 25th. They offered me March 24th. I reluctantly agreed, and then they came back and said that they couldn't honor that date either.
We can't do March 24th either.
So that was the second time that they, you know.
You're it's like you're throwing bad juju into the world. You don't want to do that when you start off a business?
Sure. I mean, it's venue conflicts. It's hard to nail it.
No, it's not hard. Do the right thing. What it is you remind me of I come from a construction family, and the construction family, people show up to the highest bidder. That's what they do. So I would have to make my house more attractive for them to show up. So I would cook breakfast for everybody. I would bring coffee to all the workers. That way they come to my house first, because otherwise they're going to go where they're going to make money now. But that's business. That's capitalism. It's a beautiful thing. But you can't keep the ball rolling if you don't do it with honor. And if you're not, doing it with honor means complying with your obligations. But if you can't comply with your obligations because that 10 grand was just too juicy, for the love of God, at least do what the guy's asking, which is just make me whole. Make me whole. Give me my $1,500 because I had to go accommodate, go to a smaller place, change. I'm embarrassed, buy it, the whole routine. He's right because, yeah, cool, that works, is a contract. Verdict for the plaintiff, $1,539.42.
So the plaintiff does get his $1,539. Brandon, the defendant's just come out of the courtroom. I'm really want to know what you think about what the judge said to you when she said the word cool works. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, that's what I said in the agreement, and that's what we decided on. But it doesn't seem like a very concrete agreement to me. But at the same time, I feel like the plaintiff was going to spend $2,500 at our venue. Seems like he got a break getting $1,500 at the other. So why do we have to pay that?
That doesn't count in here. You know, that's the way it worked out for him. Bottom line is, though, you did agree. In the eyes of the law, you had a contract. So hopefully you've learned something. Think you have?
I guess I have.
I guess you have. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pay the guy. Tyler's on his way out of the courtroom. Well, good for you. You know, sorry you went through all of this. So really, how was the party?
Oh, it was a really good party.
How
Really
good?
party. I mean, really good. Besides the money that I had to spend, you know,
Yeah.
on the venue,
Yeah.
when I thought that I was going to get a venue for, you know, $2,500 for the bar minimum. But besides that, it was really good.
You think it was better the way it ended up rather than it would have been at his place?
I think things happen for a reason, so I think it probably was for the best.
Well, good enough. Congratulations.
Thank you very
Okay?
much.
Glad you won. All right. Good luck. Harvey, good lesson here. What do you think?
Hey, there's no magic to contracts. You can write it on a napkin. Cool That Works is binding.